their power derives from the fact that they don't question. And so I think there are a lot more people in that category. They're given an order, or they see that they're part of a movement. They don't question it. They just go along with it. And maybe in the deep recesses of their minds, they may think, gee, I wonder if this is good for humanity. I wonder if it's good for me or my family. But they don't think about that too much, because they know that in the world which supports them doesn't allow that kind of thinking. So I think it's that element more than this conscious desire to get rid of the human race.
Michael, your take on that?
You know, I definitely agree with that. One thing, you know, we're reaching out to the people who are flying these planes who are involved with these programs. Mm-hmm. I believe that a lot of these people do not know exactly what they're doing. So we're hoping to awaken some of those people and to really question things. You know, with that being said, you know, if you look at the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and their eugenics policies, you know, there clearly is an agenda to reduce the Earth's population. I forgot to say Bill Gates, who is a heavy funder into geoengineering programs.
Oh, he's huge. He's got a bunch of patents for hurricane machines, chemtrailing. I mean, he's there.
Absolutely. And, you know, he's funding David Keith and Ken Caldera. And we know, you know, what is behind this man. So I think at the highest levels, yes, there are plans to definitely hurt and make people sick and to lower the population. However, I think that, again, a lot of people involved with these programs are really not aware of how damaging and how much damage they're doing. You know, we're hoping to reach out to the pilots so they might know that what they're doing is hurting their children, could be hurting their parents. You know, so that's really something that we're trying to do, is reach out to everybody.
Well, I just hope that everybody out there who's been laughed at for talking about persistent jet aerosol, known by laymen as chemtrail, and all of you that are concerned about this will understand this is a professionally, well-balanced, focused, documented film. What in the world are they spraying? And it is the best film I've seen out there of many, because so much of this is now coming out in the open, and it's also great filmmakers, and G. Edward Griffin behind it. People need to get this film. You need to show it to everyone you know. You know, people didn't believe me that they'd signed UN agreements to hand over our national parks and areas to UN control, so I went out and interviewed people, showed the documents, went there, and you know, and really, you know, we were some of the first in 96, 97 to really pioneer what so many others are now doing. And that's great, because they can't just kill an Alex Jones or a G. Edward Griffin or set us up or put us in prison, because there's so many other people coming online, so many thousands of filmmakers and authors. It is a powerful, powerful, powerful thing. Let's take some phone calls. Let me see who is up first here. Michael in Florida, you're on the air with G. Edward Griffin and the other filmmaker, Michael J. Murphy. Welcome.
How you guys doing tonight?
Good, Michael.
Good. Hey, I got a question, and forgive my ignorance on the way that our whole atmosphere works, but I just shot a quick vid of a chemtrail over my house in Central Florida, and it was very obvious that at the treetop level, the winds were blowing at about 20 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour. They were really swaying good. And then at about 3,000 or 4,000 feet, the clouds were moving. You could visibly see all the clouds moving in the sky. Yet, the chemtrail that was above us was maybe 500, maybe 1,000 feet above the clouds, but it wasn't moving at all.
Well, there's different weather, you know, strata. There's different you know, prevailing winds, jet streams, and jet streams are pretty easy to forecast. One of the big jet streams coming out of China and across the western United States dumps between New Mexico, Texas, and Louisiana. So much of the toxic waste from China ends up dumping in here, and that could be some of the aluminum and toxins we're already seeing. But, I mean, specifically, you know, you're asking why was the chemtrail moving at a different rate? You can see weather systems where clouds are going this way and other clouds are going that way. That's normally a you know, natural function. You want to comment on that, G. Edward Griffin or Mr. Murphy?
Well, yeah, just to confirm that there are wind currents at different elevations, and they often go in different directions. It's kind of like looking at a big bowl of water. If you dumped some
oil
dye into the water, you could see the currents of the water. If you stir it up, you can find, you know, at some levels that the dye moves in one direction, and in other levels, it may move in another direction for a while, and then before it gets all mixed up. So
Sure.
it's the normal phenomenon.
And that's why the Pentagon's declassified in the 60s. They were able to direct major weather systems and dump jet streams with water directly into flood people. And that's one of the most declassified areas that we've interviewed, of course, Ben Livingston, the father of weather weapons. And that's going to be in our film. Let's go ahead and talk.
May one more comment, Alex, on that. I think it's important to know that in Hawaii, for example, the people there, although they were being completely sprayed, very seldom did they see the planes, because the planes apparently were flying off the edge of offshore and letting the chemtrails ride in with the wind currents.
Yes.
So they know about that. And
yeah, that's another. They know where to spray to target something sometimes 5,000 miles away. Because some people say, planes aren't spraying you at 20,000 feet, Mr. Jones, to hit you on the ground. It's going somewhere else. Exactly.
That's right.
Well, it was also interesting because it is kind of covert, because you don't see the planes. But when we were there, we also spoke publicly about the issue and urged people to do rain tests. And, of course, they did. We're unable to get it into the film. However, these rain tests, again, revealed very high amounts of aluminum, barium, and strontium, just what we suspected. So
absolutely. Let's talk to Woody in Seattle. Woody, you're on the air.
Hi, Alex. Thank you for taking my call. I've been taking a lot of time and effort in researching chemtrails over the last 2 years. I've been retired. I'm retired 25-year in law enforcement, and I've worked extensively across the United States. And I've seen it virtually in every major city and every medium-sized city that I've traveled through. And some of my research indicates that initially this goes all the way back to the 1980s, when they discovered that the ozone shield was basically disappearing, and that the scientists basically devised this program initially to combat the deterioration of the ozone.
No, I've seen that. I've seen that from the 70s in our documents. That's exactly the research. That's one of, I believe that's a cover story, because 4 years ago they had a government-issued textbook for 6th graders that said, oh, we're spraying you like a sunscreen to save the earth. G. Edward Griffin comments.
Well, I agree with that, and they always come up with some explanation for why they're doing it. I mean, they're going to repair the ozone hole and all that stuff.
Well, if that was the truth, why'd they keep it secret then?
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Farmers all over are saying they've never seen vegetable gardens not grow. It's happening to our family with property in East Texas. Guys, you cover some of that in the film, don't you?
Well, we absolutely do, and we spent some time with Francis Mangles and Dane Wigington. Francis, of course, is a retired biologist, and he's saying just that. He also does gardens for people. And gardens are struggling, in that area and as well around the country and around the world. Also, Dane made that statement similar to the gentleman about the grass. The grass is not growing. It's about half of the height of what it once was.
Well, all over Northern California, trees are just dying everywhere.
Literally everywhere. And Deborah Whitman of Environmental Voices has begun testing the trees that are dying. There is this white residue on the bark. And, of course, he's been finding very high amounts of, again.
And the bats are dying, and they're finding aluminum, and the bees are dying. I mean, this is sick. And meanwhile, the UN and Bill and Melinda Gates have over 45 bunkers, many of them hidden, North Pole, other places, bunkers hidden with armed guards guarding giant seed vaults. I tell you, G. Edward Griffin, this looks like a Moonraker scenario to me.
Yeah, it's really weird. And that seed vault issue has often caused me to puzzle. Why do you suppose they're doing that? Are they really trying to guard the seeds? Do they expect that what they're doing may just wipe everything out and then have to start over again? Or are they guarding them to make sure that nobody else guards them? I don't know. It's, your mind can run wild with things like this. There's so many unanswered questions.
No, I mean, after they wreck everything, that stuff's going to be the most valuable thing on the planet.
Yes, but they're going to sit on top of it and make sure that you and I don't get hold of it.
And they've got mega companies doing whatever they can, sometimes paying 100 times over the PE ratio for small heirloom seed companies.
Yes. Okay, there's our next business venture, everybody. Let's go form an heirloom seed company.
There you go.
We've got some great sponsors doing that. Mark, great points. Let's talk to Wesley in Oklahoma.
Sir.
Hey.
Thank you. Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yep. All right, thank you. I just wanted to talk about, you know, Mr. Griffin has said, you know, how they ride along with the currents. And last Thursday, I was at school here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I went in at 9:30, and I saw up in the clouds that, you know, there was X's of trails. And when I got out at 3, I noticed those trails had moved along with the wind, except they didn't move like clouds. And then, so, you know, that goes to, you know, to the point of how, you know, it's the whole drift thing. But
oh,
then,
hey, what about 2 years ago, the Major Meteorology Association, NOAA, came out and said there's now not 3 kinds of clouds. A new cloud in the last decade has appeared. So there's now new clouds, and you look at the classification, it's a chemtrail.
Yeah, and so, you know, I text, you know, 10 people. I try getting people to, you know, look up and say, yo, that's not a cloud. And I agree with Mr. Murphy. You know, you can only be lied to for so long before you got to start reaching out to other people. And you know, with Mr. Griffin, he's talking about, you know, the godlike people that, you know, want to get rid of the human race. I found an article Friday night. If you Google, you can type in "we can all change 1, 2, 3" with no spaces in it, and that article should be a helpful article.
Yeah, we have BBC articles where it says elite believe we will split into 2 species. It goes back to H.G. Wells, who was a big globalist, and yes, they're on complete megalomaniacal power trips. We're almost out of time. Quickly, Sue in Pennsylvania, you're on the air.
Yeah. Hi, Alex. Mr. Griffin, for taking my call. I'm just really interested in this, and considering with all the fluoride that we've been doused with, I've read a lot about it, and I've read that the fluoride ion has an affinity to bonding with aluminum that they're spraying us with.
Yes, Dr. Blaylock says the two excite each other and have a magnifying effect.
Right, right, and due to all the neurological diseases that have been increasing with the brain plaques like MS and, you know, all the other diseases, I'm just saying, is this a possible that they're using these different avenues in collaboration with each other for their, you know, original intent, which is, you know, trying to kill us?
Well, it's certainly possible, and some of us might even think it's probable, but you can't go much further than that. I would love to see a study to show if these neurological diseases are at a higher rate in areas that are heavily fluoridated in the water supply.
We actually have those studies.
You do?
Yeah, in Canada and the U.S. and China, the IQ is upwards of 20 points lower, and there's massive increases in neurological disorders. We're out of time, Sue. By the way, I was wrong. There were 4 types of clouds. They've discovered a 5th type, and when you look at the news articles, it's chemtrails they're showing. Oh, look, there's a new cloud type, and it's chemtrails. I mean, watch old movies from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, or commercials. You never see chemtrails. Now in the TV ads, it's chemtrails. You can't go out and shoot most of the time without these being there. Folks, get the film. Get it out to everyone. Support filmmakers like G. Edward Griffin and Mr. Murphy. Support us who are selling it and you know, premiering it, shipping it out to folks. Please get What in the World Are They Spraying at Infowars.com. Show it to everyone you know. Gentlemen, good luck with your screening. I'm sure it'll sell out, and it's a huge crowd out there in Atlanta on the 23rd of this month. God bless you.
Thanks a lot, Alex. Good luck.
God bless you.
Amazing.